So just to kind of take you through a few of the donations that we've done in the past few years. We donated to KithidaFamily.net. We donated $2,000. And then, of course, you heard about the Bookshelves Project. We gave money as a group, as a society we gave money, but then individuals also donated. So the total that came from the Kytherian Society was $1,640. For the library landscaping, we donated $2,000. And I tried to find photos that showed before and after, you know, so that you could see the difference. And I gotta say, George did a fabulous job of getting that organized. And I was there last year to see it, and I came after Cynthia, and it's just, it used to get tears in your eyes when you see the wonderful job that has, you know, what's happened and how that building has been transformed. So this year he hit me up again. I'm going, you guys are always hitting us up for money. We're just this little organization. We don't have a lot of money. But he goes, how would you like to donate to the Kythera Municipal Maintenance Fund? Hey, George, you know, where are we going to get this money? Well, we did. You know, we decided to give $2,000, and then, as I said, we put it in our mailer that we asked for donations, and we collected a total of $21.25. And of course, that's American dollars that I'm talking about. When you translate that into Australian dollars, it actually is a little bit more.
Now it is.
Also, last year we donated $500 to the 3P Leon Foundation for the Yoroko Leon. And there were a few other things that I just mentioned. One big donation was for a large format printer for the Kytherian Culture Association. We donated $38.40 for that. Okay, and then the website. So the website has kind of started as a small website and it just keeps growing and growing. And across the top, you can see there's all different things there. Each one of those areas actually has a drop down, so there's quite a bit more information that you see there. So we have the blog, and that's how we, and as you can see, the latest blog entry is about the Kytheraismos Symposium. Anytime the blog is updated, members get notice of it. We have the scholarship. Cynthia mentioned how when a student is applying for the scholarship, they have to write an essay, My Family's History on Kythera. And so it's really kind of fun to read these little essays that the kids have written. And each scholarship recipient has their own page with their essay. And often there's a video of them as well. Like Stephen actually is the one that got the scholarship this year. He's the grandson of Catherine Stathis, the president. And he got a full scholarship to attend Gonzaga University in Washington, and so he was not able to attend. So there was a video of him thanking the Kytherian Society, and that's on the website as well. And this is kind of a fun page. We have we've listed notable Kytherians throughout the years, and as I gain information about these Kytherians, I add information about them. So, have any of you ever heard of the Kumbis brothers? That picture on top is kind of famous. I think a lot of people have seen it. They were from Lobothetyanica, but they immigrated to the United States, and they did a strongman vaudeville act from about 1907 until the end of the First World War. And there's a man who wrote an article about it in one of the Hellenic journals in New York, and I put that story on the website as well. It's kind of fun to read. Also, the Caminos brothers were from, let's see, I'm not sure if they were Pitinades or Lobothetyanica, but they had the Caminos Hotel in Salinas, which was a famous hotel. Presidents stayed there. Any Greeks who came through California usually worked at that hotel at some time in their life. Even my father, who was not Kytherian, actually worked at that hotel when he first came to California. And the last one was on Michalis Semitekoulos. Is anybody familiar with him? Okay, Michalis Semitekoulos went around California collecting money for the funds to fund the first Kytherian, the hospital on Kythera. And he had a restaurant in New York called Mike's Ship Ahoy, and it is famous. It was famous in New York, and it looked like a ship. And so, from his pages, you know, I posted them. I all of a sudden started getting emails from his daughter and his son, and just last week I got an email from somebody who had a menu. They would have these big menus, it was a seafood grotto, and if you just look at the prices of things back then, it's just really fun to see. So there are several pages on Mike Schiffelroy. And then we have a guest book, and again, I've always kind of been, where are the Kytherians in California? And I'm always trying to find this. I'm going to tell you how I met Cynthia, and that is, there used to be a website called Voyage to Kythera. I don't know if any of you remember that, but there was a guest book on that webpage. I think it had about 350 entries, and I went through it one day and I wrote down all the people in the United States, and if there was an email, I emailed them. I said, okay, where are you, who are you, well, what? And Cindy was on there. I said, oh, she's in LA, she's not that far from me. So I emailed her, and that's how we got acquainted and got to know each other. So this is another way that we get to know other people, and people that are from all over find it, whether they're Kytherian or not. Some are in Australia, some are in California, but it's a fun way to get in contact with people. And of course, we're also on Facebook, so if you're on Facebook, please go and like our page. Speaking of Facebook, well, I'm going to kind of backpedal a little bit. So I'm going to kind of go back to, this is kind of what really got me started on trying to find my family history. This is an Easter picnic in about 1914, and I used to look at this picture with my mom and say, who are these people? You know, I recognized my papu, who's the guy with the big mustache. And by the way, descendants of his brothers are here in the audience today, my Ethereans cousins. And my mother recognized her mother's brothers who were in the photo, but we didn't know who anybody else was. And I do know who most of those people are now. She never knew. She's been gone for about 12 years. But there's a man in the front with a tie, and we knew his name was Kytheriaisimos, but we thought, what is the connection of Kytheriaisimos to this family? Because he was in a whole bunch of family pictures. So one day, I noticed that one of the people that liked our Kytherian Society Facebook page, her name was Megan Pierce, and she lived in San Francisco, but she was from Bakersfield. And I thought, Bakersfield, the Symos family went to Bakersfield. I wonder if there's a connection there. So I sent her a message, and we started writing back and forth, and she says, oh, well, my family is the Symos family. I said, oh, really? Well, I sent her some old pictures that I had, and we were emailing each other back and forth like within seconds, and she said, I've got tears in my eyes. Oh my God, that's my yaya, that's my great-grandfather, that's our whole family. Where did you get this picture? And so it was like, wow, you know, so she then, you know, we've been in contact now. She came to the Kytherian Society luncheon now for the last 2 years. She's brought her parents. She brought this picture to share with me. And this was the wedding of Kytheriaisimos in 1916 in San Francisco. And I looked at that picture and I said, oh my God. I can identify like 20 people in that picture. They're all my relatives. My yaya's nephew was Kytheriaisimos' best man. So anyway, it's really fun to find all of these connections and see how we all fit together, and that's it. One last thing I want to say, because of the website, just a few days before I was going to leave to come here, I got an email from a woman named Carol Burnham, and she said, oh, I saw your website and I just wrote a book. And she said, she's not Greek, but she and her husband have traveled to Kythera many times, and she became inspired to make Kythera the setting for her book. And so I told her that I was coming to this conference, and I said, gee, I'd like to buy a copy of your book, and I'll bring it and I'll share it with everybody at the conference. So she sent it to me like overnight. I got it very quickly. So it's called The Caver by Carol Burnham. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I can't tell you how good it is or not, but you know, we all want to read anything that takes place on Kythera, right? I also posted it on KytheraFamily.net, so if you want to look for it, you'll find it there. And contact info.
We're done?
Thank you, Vicky and Cynthia. Fantastic. Next speaker is Anthony Conmos, who's going to speak on Kythera, living for future in Kythera. Anthony was born in Brisbane to Kytherian parents. He was on the committee of the GOSPYA youth group growing up, married Kytherian Helen Honda-Leon, and his daughters are aged 19 and 15. He studied property valuation and construction. He worked alongside the mining magnate, the late Ken Pulpit, in Sri Lanka for 3.5 years. Vice chairman of LJ Hooker Hong Kong for 3 years. joint venture with Macquarie Bank to establish Smart Loan Hong Kong, 2 years. He was General Manager of a property development company in Brisbane, Cosmopolitan Developments, delivering projects in the residential, commercial and retail sectors, totaling over $180 million turnover over 8 years. And over the last 3 years, he's owned an apartment development company, delivering over 100 apartments over 3 different projects. He recently started up Kythera Living, a house-building construction company on Kythera. Thank you. Anthony Colomont, Kythera Living, your future in Kythera.
Thank you, John. My name's Anthony Collins, and I'm a proud Etherean, and more importantly, a proud Palamid. So let's get that straight. Let me tell you a bit about my history, so you understand how Kythera Living sort of evolved. A bit of a story there. Start with my family tree. My father is Hebreas megaloponomos, Aspalios, Paratsutli. My mother was Grigoria Statis Royas from Carbonada. And my petero is Arthur Pendolian from Yaradica, Neuros. And my mother-in-law is Diamanda